back to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below.
Cue the intro.
On a good old Friday, join us for a talk show. Ethan, Lawrence, and Lee. Oh, beware of the fun that is bound to come on a good old Friday night. Yay!
Good ethical evening, everyone, and welcome back to episode 2 of Good Ethical Evening. The segments on today's docket are
Story time.
Story
And
time.
Food for thought.
No, story time challenge and food for thought. So, without further ado, let's get to story time.
Good evening, and welcome to Story Time. I am now Stanley, and this wonderful evening we'll be covering a marvelous story about something very terrible that once happened to me. Many years ago, when I was young and athletic, I participated in a homeschool sports group, I guess you could say, in which I played soccer. During my times playing soccer, I endured many severe injuries, but the worst of these all was that I broke part of my thumb/hand. Some kid found it humorous to kick a ball really hard at my face, so I blocked it with my hand. Turns out it actually broke my hand. Started crying, went to the emergency room, got a cast and everything. Failed my next track meet because of it. Come to find out, years later, at TeenPact, I met a young fellow named Mr. Ethan Wright. Talking to him, I'm telling the story about how I once broke my thumb/hand. Looking at him, I realized, you are the young man that broke my hand. Turns out, Ethan and I were actually on that soccer team together, and he broke my hand. Intentionally. I'm kidding, it wasn't intentional, but yes, Ethan broke my hand. I am no longer Stanley.
For today's challenge, we are going to be drinking out of the same spurt of water. Okay, but as you can see, there are 2 different spurts. We tried to do this with the sink and the fridge, but it was really hard to get a good camera angle. So we're just gonna do it right here. The first one to overflow their cup loses. So basically we're just sitting here drinking as fast as we can, and then if it overflows, you lose. All right, so AJ, our fabulous cameraman, videographer, well, no, what do you call it? You said the...
Cinematographer.
There we go.
No, yes, but you have a better name for it. You told me just the other day.
No, we're not using that.
All right. He's going to give us a countdown. And this time we're going to go faster because last time we tried it, it didn't really work and we just sat there sucking water. All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right. And 3, 2, 1, go.
I win as I win at all things.
I don't understand. I was going so fast.
I cannot believe I won. I always lose water races.
Wow, that took so much longer than I thought it would. This water looks 10 times less appetizing after that. I don't understand how I lost, but it's okay. In order to gain into future, to succeed in the future, you must lose. So, we're gonna move on to some food for thought. It's good to have some food after that water. Which Lauren will introduce.
Alrighty, so this week for Food for Thought, Ethan is going to go a little bit over why he thinks the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies are related to the Revelation from the Bible.
The Revelation.
Revelation.
The book of Revelation.
And
the Tribulation. Yes. So, this isn't necessarily a set in stone thing. It's not that I 100% am for this. It's sort of just a fun theory to think about, some food for thought. But, either way, I'll begin. So, if you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole, and then you look at Thanos, who is the all-time bad guy, who is the most powerful being in the universe, how is he portrayed? He is bad. Like most of the time, when someone's the most powerful being in the universe, they're generally bad, and they're bad because they're the most powerful being in the universe. And it's a little bit goofy sometimes, but either way, when we start looking at what actually happens in the movies, the first Avengers, Thanos sends this army down as sort of like a warning, led by Loki. I don't have all of my Marvel stuff exactly right, so if I say something wrong, please don't get on to me.
Come for him.
Yes. So either way, he sends down this army as like a forewarning, saying, you know, I have more power than this, also I'm coming at some point. And then Thanos comes down to jump, to jump a lot. You get to where Thanos, his goal is to destroy half the universe, to balance, essentially. But the way he does this is by snapping his finger and half of the universe's population, half the universe's population disappearing. When you compare that to the Rapture, the most powerful being in the universe is taking a percentage of the population to a temporary holding place for to balance the world and so that he can return and bring judgment. That is pretty much, I have a more succinct way to say that, and I should have brought my essay with me actually, because I wrote an essay on this for one of my literary classes, and I will post the essay after this. But either way, the whole idea that he is taking a percentage of the population, putting them in this temporary holding place, and then them coming back later. The Bible talks about how the rapture is going to happen and Christians will be raptured up into a temporary place because the new heaven and the new earth haven't been created yet. So that when the new heaven and the new earth come, after everything is balanced out, as Thanos would call it, then they will come back and their Christians will rise from the dead. All of this is prophesied. And then when the actual final battle happens, there is fire raining down from the sky. And Thanos actually says, rain down fire. And that's literally almost a direct quote from Revelation about Jesus judging the earth and raining down fire. And then furthermore, when you see the floods coming, and I'm pretty sure it's Doctor Strange, he pulls down this massive amounts of water onto everything. Fire and water flood everything, and the blood flows through like water. And that is all sort of represented with all the water and all the people. Obviously, it's not rated R, so there's not going to be a river of blood. But either way, I've just found that really interesting. I've had some smarter people than myself talk about it, and it's really interesting to think about how that might be reflecting Revelation. But the sad part is that the most powerful being in the universe, which we know is God, who's good, is Thanos in the Avengers, and they portray him as being bad. And that's generally how it is. If you look at movies where there's a really powerful being, everybody's always fighting the most powerful being in the universe. And then, you know, the Bible says that Satan is going about like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. And that is what Satan is doing. He's taking what we know and love a lot of times in film, in the film industry, and he will use it to get us in this mindset of the most powerful being not being a just being and not being a good being. Either way, that's some food for thought for today, something that I had thought about in the past and that I wrote an essay on. Like I said, I'll post the essay. Let me know what you think on it. And again, just a theory, just an idea. It's not like I'm saying the Avengers is terrible. I love the Avengers. They're funny, particularly Spider-Man. He's great. Anyway, that is all for the food for thought for today. And sorry.
We'd be super interested to hear y'all's opinions.
Yes.
So yeah, please let us know what you think, and we'd be super interested to hear kind of what everyone thinks about it.
Yep, and we hadn't really explained it yet, but with these episodes, we're trying to keep them short but sweet. So we're trying to get in as much as we can, but also not, keep your attention span. So that being said, I think that's all for today. So we'll close it out. See y'all 2 weeks from now.